Welcome to week 2 of Introduction to Psychology. This week you read chapter 6 of your psychology book and learned about reinforcement and punishment and ways of shaping or changing people's behavior. This is often a kind of a confusing topic for new learners of psychology, and so I wanted to spend a little bit of time providing some additional context and information about this very important concept. There are two types of reinforcement: positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement, and two types of punishment: positive punishment and negative punishment. We're going to talk about each of these in detail in just a few moments. Negative reinforcement is an attempt to increase the likelihood of a behavior occurring in the future by removing an aversive or unpleasant stimulus, so something happening that someone would like to have removed or stopped. And so an example of this would be, in the first picture, is removing the sensation of drowning to increase the likelihood that the individual will provide information. So that's one example of negative reinforcement. A more common example would be giving your dog a treat to stop him from begging. So unfortunately, sometimes we give our dog a treat to stop them from begging because it's very annoying and we'd like them to stop. But all that does is increase the likelihood that our dogs will beg in the future. And so it really works against us over the long haul, but in the short term, it's pretty reinforcing. Positive and negative reinforcement often work together. For example, here's a common example. Your teenage daughter wants to attend a concert to which you are initially opposed, so you say no. In response to you saying no, she throws a teenage tantrum. She says she hates you, and then she begins to ignore you, which is pretty aversive. You don't really like that this is happening. After you can't take it anymore, you give in, and she stops the inappropriate behavior and starts being the sweet angel you know her to be. So this is how negative and positive reinforcement has worked in this scenario. You, as the parent, are negatively reinforced because by approving her request, the aversive behavior, which was the teen tantrum, is taken away or stopped, which in return increases the likelihood that you will give in to her request in the future and probably do it much more quickly. Your daughter's behavior is, in turn, positively reinforced because something is added. In this case, what was added is permission to attend the concert. And your daughter is more likely, as a result, to throw a teen tantrum in the future to get her way. So again, reinforcement means that something has been applied that increases the behavior. Negative means something's been removed to increase that behavior, and positive means something has been put into the environment to increase that behavior. And this is how these often work together. So as parents or as teachers or as coworkers, if we give in to a request after first initially resisting because we don't like the consequences applied by the other person of our initial answer, we're actually negatively reinforced by that experience, and we're positively reinforcing the individual for whom we've given into. Positive punishment. So people are particularly confused about positive punishment. And what positive punishment means is that we have added something into the environment in order to decrease unwanted behavior. So again, remember that positive means we've added something to the environment. Punishment means that we've done that in order to decrease unwanted behavior. So positive, again, does not mean that it's joyful or desired or good, perceived as good, but simply that we added to the environment. So these examples below are good examples of positive punishment. So scolding your child to stop him or her from getting up from the table without permission. So scolding, we're introducing scolding into the environment. And what we want to accomplish with that is a reduction in reduced likelihood that our child will get up from the table without permission. Another example would be writing up your employee to reduce his or her tardiness. So again, we're introducing a discipline incident into your employee's life, into their environment, in order to reduce the likelihood that he or she will be tardy in the future. And another classic example is getting a speeding ticket. So we are given a speeding ticket, which introduces a fine and probably a humbling, maybe even shameful interaction with a police officer. And so that's introduced into the environment in order to reduce the likelihood that we will speed in the future. Negative punishment is the act of taking away something in response to an undesirable behavior in order to reduce the likelihood that that behavior will result in the future. So a perfect example that any of you who are parents will definitely recognize is taking away your child's iPad for not following your instructions. So again, we're taking something out of the environment, which is why it's negative, and in order to reduce of behavior, and that's why it's punishment. I hope that this video provides you some additional clarity about the difference between reinforcement and punishment, and what makes reinforcement or punishment positive or negative. Let me know if you have any questions at all. Happy to talk about it further.